debris on television and be told, accept this is normal, without it having an effect. And so we look at all this and, well, they're either nuts or they're normal, but we can't condemn it because we're told that if we condemn it, we're not fair, or we're mean, or whatever. Now, in the newspaper today, this I love. Warning signs you should watch for in your children to find out if they have become co-opted by a cult. As though this happens every day. This is my point. This is an oddity. This is a freaky thing. This is not normal. It is not natural. And those who go on television every day and demand that we think things like this are natural and normal, and not worthy of condemnation, are now the people out there. They're just wrong. They want to believe in the ills of America. They want to believe in the inherent flaws and failures of our system that creates situations like this. And so now listen to some of these things. You parents out there are going to want to maybe write this down if you don't have a tape recorder. Secretive behavior is a sign that your kid may be getting ready to join a cult. My son insists on speaking privately with his friends. He refuses to tell me where he's going. He acts like he's doing something wrong. He withholds information, sometimes even lies to me. Every kid does that every day, times 2. He may be in the process of being co-opted by a cult. Change in vocabulary or speech patterns. Our daughter used to be a great communicator, so expressive, so articulate, so creative with words. Suddenly, it's as though a completely different person's talking to us. Sometimes it seems as though she's speaking from a memorized script. Shift in friends and activities, emotional changes, rejection of secular goals, extreme commitments, abrupt marital decisions. Eloping can now be considered behavior that is a sign that you're heading for a cult, especially if it happens when she's 13. I mean, I love all this. Everything's fine, everything's normal, don't condemn these people. Then this stuff actually happens. And then, how about the approach to it? Bill Clinton is making a huge tactical error by distancing himself from his subordinates on this. Bay of Pigs, John Kennedy was right there, it's my fault. Botched Iranian hostage rescue, Jimmy Carter was right there. Here's Bill Clinton, hey, it's Reno's problem. Janet Reno's offering to resign if the president wants her to. She says she was motivated by the child abuse going on in there. The child abuse. So for child abuse, you go get a tank and start bulldozing somebody's compound down? I have decided, ladies and gentlemen, that since my degree of actual concern about the event itself is so limited, I am not going to sit here and fake it. I'm not going to sit here and act like I really care a whole lot about this. I'm glad it's over, and I haven't even been curious about it. I don't get curious about kooks. I am not curious about weirdos. And they're not even in the circus. This is not even a circus act for me. And frankly, I'm always amazed at how something like this is, up until the fire. Look, the fire and the kids and all that, I don't mean to distance myself from that, but that hurts as it would hurt anybody. It's horrible, and I don't deny that I feel that way. But before this, the level of interest is such that I was perplexed and curious even by that. But since I am this way, I have decided to download a lot of mail, and there are tons of it on my CompuServe account, last night and today, and I'm going to read you some of the responses from people, so as to be balanced. There are people, plenty of people out there, many of you probably, who do give a hoot, who do care about this, who are more than just idly interested. And if you want to call and express your opinion about it, feel free to do so. There are other things going on in the news which we will touch on and discuss. We'll take a break and come back with some of the notes, some of the letters from Americans commenting on the events yesterday at the Branch Davidian compound near Waco, Texas. Back after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Hello, this is Pat Robertson with some very, very exciting news. I know there are people in this country who are interested in doing two things. Number one, they want to be involved in the free enterprise system. They would like to have some supplemental income, possibly a business on their own where they weren't working for somebody else. And yet the level of entry has been so high, they haven't been able to get in on it. I'm going to tell you about a program called American Benefits Plus that will let you participate in the free enterprise system.
Now you can go into business with no upfront cost. We're looking for leaders, managers, and trainers with entrepreneurial drive. Call 1-800-359-1226 about American Benefits Plus. This dynamic opportunity to be your own boss is yours now. Independent lead sharing program coming soon. Timing is critical. Get involved now. American Benefits Plus is endorsed by Dr. Pat Robertson. Call 1-800-359-1226 24 hours. That's 1-800-359-1226.
Hi, this is Rush Limbaugh. When you speak, people listen. And the words you use tell them about your education, your background, even your intelligence. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' powerful vocabulary building course on audio cassette tape gives you the words you need to make your best impression. Carefully chosen power words that will give your vocabulary confidence in any situation. To learn more, call now, 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 1-800-28-TAPES.
You'll see all kinds of friendly people and delicious food at Sandpiper Seafood.
Everybody knows that it's the place to go. You'll see your cousin Sally and your Uncle Joe. Their food is so delicious it'll make you say, if I had 3 wishes I'd be back today. Yeah, everybody knows that it's the place to go.
That's right. At Sandpiper Seafood, you might see Cousin Sally or Uncle Joe. You might even see some funny-looking people you don't even know. But here's what Sandpiper Seafood guarantees you will see. You'll see smiling people digging into delicious shrimp. You'll see friendly people serving you and everybody having a great time at Sandpiper Seafood.
You'll leave us feeling satisfied and wearing a grin. And knowing very soon that you'll be back again. Yeah, everybody knows that it's the place to go.
Come on in to Sandpiper Seafood on Highway 70 in LaGrange.
The Hunter Pork Center, the Pork King, is so positive that you'll enjoy their quality pork. They're going to give you a free barbecue sandwich on Friday or Saturday. Friday from 9 to 4, Saturday 9 to 2. And always good buys at the Hunter Pork Center. Come on in. You'll find crackling cakes, buy one, get one free. Freshly frozen pork loins, $1.79 a pound. Lard, 1 stand, $10, 2 stands, $15. And a good barbecue, buy 1 pound, get 1 free. Nahanta Pork Center, 1 mile west of Nahanta School.
Help the Shriners this Friday. Century Uniform Company urges you to enjoy the Wayne Shrine Club's chicken fry from 11 till 2 and from 4 till 7 at the Old National Guard Armory in Goldsboro. Eat in or drive through. Also drive through at Herman Park and in Mount Olive across Mount Olive Center. You get half a fried chicken, coleslaw, potato salad, roll, and iced tea or coffee, with all proceeds benefiting the Wayne Shrine Club Building Fund, not to benefit the Shriners Crippled Children's Hospital. Century Uniform Company hopes you'll attend this Friday the Wayne Shrine Club Chicken Fry.
We're the talk of the town, 1150 WGBR.
We're back. Rush Limbaugh in New York. This is the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies, offering degrees daily. Here from our institute, a couple of rush rooms, interesting concepts too. I got a letter here from Randy Stafford, who's president of Positively Pizza in Rainbow City, Alabama. This is near Gadsden, Alabama, and it's a Domino's pizza place, and they have, during the times this program's on the air at lunch, Ditto Head deals. Ditto Head pizzas, where they make special deals on pizzas for Ditto Heads, and their phones go nuts from 11 to 2. And he says, look, I think I'm creating one of the biggest rush rooms. I think a rush room ought to be where restaurant prepared food is eaten. You can eat it in your home. You can have it at your office. It's a rush room as long as restaurant-prepared food's being eaten. And he has a point. He says, I got one of the biggest rush rooms in the town. It's in the country. It's called my city. Gadsden, Alabama. Then I got this note. The Notre Dame Law School Rush has opened up a lunch rush room. We show your previous evening TV show on tape delay. It's in room 120 of the law building and features a large screen TV. So consider yourself a visiting professor on the fast track for tenure. Mega Dittos, David Morgan, the University of Notre Dame Law School. And South Bend, now that, yes, oh, gee, now I've blown it for him. Now you know what's going to happen. Father Hesburgh is going to hear about this. He's going to come out of retirement. He's going to personally go over to room 120 of the law school and rip out that big screen TV. The rush room goes underground. That's right, the Notre Dame Law School. Now I hope it hangs in there. Okay, let's just go to some of the letters. I think the letters are going to cover a lot of points that I do agree with, and your phone calls as well, as to how the thing was handled. I think we got two situations: how this was handled and what was going on. And we must, I think, be intellectually honest here and separate things. We did have this bunch of kooks, and these poor souls, lost souls in these cults, are indeed strange. They're kooky. Now, how they were dealt with is another matter, and many of the letters that I have received deal with that. First letter is from, and these are in no particular order, other just the way I printed them from the download. Most recent, like within the past 2 hours, off CompuServe. From Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Ed Lambert. Dear Rush, does it seem to you also that those most contemptuous of force, those who seem to believe that in the final analysis the world is a kind, gentle place that will respond to their superior brand of kindness, are totally incompetent when they do finally have to use force? Do you see a parallel between the abandoned helicopters in the desert, Carter, and the burning building in Waco yesterday? It seems to me that armed forces and police forces, even with the best training, equipment, and people in the world, at best, can be no better than their ultimate commander. God help us all if we try to field an armed force in Southern Europe. This all ties in with women and all that in the military. For me, I don't care who defends me, but a platoon of these people had better be able to defeat a platoon of the toughest, most ruthless people our enemy can field. If they can't, in my view, the commander that fielded that armed force is guilty of treason. Ed Lambert, Ann Arbor, Michigan. This is from Toluca Lake, California, John Beal. Let me see if I understand this correctly, Rush. Number one, the feds attempted an action which led to the deaths of the cult members. The LAPD attempted an action which led to the serious injury of Rodney King. Number two, the feds say they were limited in what they could do based on the approval of President Clinton and Attorney General Reno. The LAPD says they were limited in what they could do based upon restrictions by the mayor and the city council. Number three, Janet Reno says they had reached a point where they had run out of ideas. Everything they had tried had met with no success. Stacey Coons said in court they had reached a point where they had run out of ideas. Everything they had tried had met with no success. Number four, Janet Reno says they had killed 4 agents. They had wounded 4 others. Stacey Coons says King had thrown 4 officers off his back, charged one of the officers, and might have wounded others. 5, Reno says, based on what we now know, it was obviously the wrong thing to do. Coons says that in hindsight, acting within department policy was obviously the wrong thing to do. 6, the LAPD officers didn't think they had any other options. Neither did the president, Janet Reno, or the FBI. Number 7, Chief Darrell Gates is thrown out of office. Coon and Powell are found guilty of violating King's civil rights. Other officers face LAPD disciplinary hearings. There's a civil lawsuit pending. 8, any bets regarding the indictment of President Clinton and Reno and the FBI? Talk about civil rights being violated in Waco. What were those people doing? They supposedly had a cache of weapons, violating the law. Still no evidence that that's true, but that was the supposition, but there's no evidence that it's true yet. that I've heard, anyway, that convinces me. They were in a remote area. They were threatening nobody. What were they doing? So what if they're kooks? Rush, further thoughts in pursuit of the Limbaugh doctorate. Ooh, that's not a letter about this. That's for different later in the show. And he will get the doctorate. Let's see, that's L.A. This is from Stowe, Massachusetts. Say, Rush. Janet Reno is an obvious victim of the president's criteria for selecting cabinet appointees. She is correctly taking the blame for the catastrophe at Waco. She admits the final decision was hers. She was obviously over her head. The situation was beyond her ability and experience to handle. Was she vicious? Of course not. Isn't this another case of liberal good intentions going bad? People died in Waco. How many others have died in the inner cities because of the good intentions of the poverty programs? The chief advantage of being a liberal is that you only have to have good intentions. You don't have to concern yourself with consequences. Should she resign? Only if her reason for resignation is an admission that she doesn't have the experience and ability to handle the requirements of the position. Otherwise, the press will make her into a martyr who was a victim of forces she couldn't control. All the members of this administration should do some soul searching to decide if they have the experience, judgment, and temperament to govern the country properly. Arnie Buckman, Stowe, Massachusetts. You know, there is a point to be made about that. And it's related to economics. It's not related to this. Last Friday, the president of the United, I don't know if you people are aware of the falling dollar against the yen and how expensive, how much more expensive Japanese-made goods are going to be in the United States because of this. And the president, he's not the governor of Arkansas anymore. The president actually said we need a stronger yen, and so we got one. And the dollar is plummeting against the yen. Not good. That's inexperience talking in many ways.
When you think of sending a gift, you probably think of flowers or candy, but now there's something new. Send a book, a great new gift idea as near as your phone. Just call 1-800-793-SEND and we'll send just about any book you like to anyone you like. How about sending Rush Limbaugh's The Way Things Ought to Be to a friend or relative? Now there's a great gift idea.
1-800-793-SEND.
Send a book. 1-800-793-SEND.
Send a book.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
Good afternoon. At 12:30, it's 75 degrees. I'm Dory Roberts. We'll be joining ABC News and John Belmont for the latest on the Waco standoff, or the results from the Waco standoff yesterday. Right at coming up.
Holding its last daily briefing on the Waco standoff, says it was cult members who started yesterday's fire, denying a claim by one survivor that federal agents ignited it by knocking over a kerosene lantern with a tank.
There's no doubt in our minds, we have very specific evidence that occupants of the compound started fires in the compound, multiple fires.
FBI Special Agent Jeff Jamar, who says 17 or more children are dead because David Koresh had them killed. He says there was a buried school bus at the compound with cool, fresh air inside. It could have served as a survival bunker during the fire, but the children were not put there. Jamar says the feds had to move yesterday because of health concerns about the children.
How would the federal government look when we finally get in the compound? There are children dying of hunger, or children dying of disease because of the conditions.
The FBI's Jamar repeats it was David Koresh's and not the government's fault that the standoff came to what he calls a terribly horrible, tragic end. There will be a public prayer service in Waco shortly, and President Clinton will have something to say about the end of the standoff next hour. I'm John Belmont, ABC News.
Next ABC News at 1 o'clock. Next update, 1:30. In local news, students from 7 Wayne County high schools who responded to questions about landfills and recycling in a mock meeting of county commissioners last night said we have to realize that money will not get us out of everything. As one student put it, we're going to have to pay for it eventually. If we wait too long, it's going to cost too much. The student suggested that government and industry need to work together to provide a greater market for recyclables. They also pointed to the need for new ideas. One student said, for example, it would at least be less confusing if we had one color of glass or fewer numbers of plastics. That was Brandy Smith, who said nobody really buys a drink because a bottle's a certain color. The students failed to support a deposit tax to be collected by returning containers to stores. One student said a better idea would be to tax companies for failure to use a specific percentage of recyclable materials. Time for our forecast from the Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies, bright, dry weather continuing the rest of today. Our temperature heading up close to 80 degrees this afternoon. And looks like the humidity will stay pretty low, too, so it'll be comfortable. Breezy, too. Increasing clouds tonight, lows in the upper 50s and low 60s. Then tomorrow, variably cloudy, a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon. Highs in the low to mid-70s. I'm Bill Schmidt at the Weather Center.
Thanks, Bill. Right now it's 76 degrees as we return to the Rush Limbaugh Show on Goldsboro's very own 1150 WGBR.
High in the sky, we go in search of the latest phenomenon sweeping the nation. Long, meandering lines of bright, shiny faces with heads full of mush, all marching to the gates of the Rush Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies, pleading to be admitted. No, demanding to be let in. And now, a hush descends over the assembled multitudes as the great one himself approaches the golden EIB microphone to address today's incoming freshmen. And there are many of those. This audience is growing so fast. We have 135 new listeners every second here on the EIB Network, ladies and gentlemen. Those are freshmen, many of them converted within 6 weeks to right thinking. 800-282-2882. One more letter from my CompuServe mail today, then to your phone calls about this. This is from Vicki in Overland Park, Kansas. She starts off by writing Clinton death toll. Haitians 400, Americans 90. After listening to Nightline last night, I was further infuriated by the Waco affair. Apparently, experts in cults were trying to contact the Attorney General in order to help out on the situation. They were ignored. I would think, as Attorney General, I'd be morally obligated to try every avenue before I tried something like yesterday, where a real possibility of something happening like yesterday was present. Also, the decision to move was based on allegations of child abuse that were unconfirmed. Who executes a person accused of murder? Don't they deserve a trial? If our Attorney General is so ignorant of the judicial system as this, she ought to resign. She ought not be in her position. I call for her immediate resignation. She ought to be tried for the murder of these innocent children. This just to show you the range of emotion that's out there, folks. She goes on, in other hostage situations, like overseas, we were willing to wait years to resolve those situations. True, the perpetrators were criminals, but we did not kill everyone just to get those criminals. I don't even know that Mr. Koresh was a criminal if the ATF began the aggression. Here we only waited 51 days. I can't believe this. I can't believe the American government would treat the lives of its citizens so cheaply as this, especially its children. Today I'm ashamed. We have idiots running our government. I hope we can survive this. At least our system is strong and has a chance of overriding these idiots. There is anger out there at the government's behavior on this. Here's Jack in Princeton, New Jersey, as we start with phone calls. Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Ditto's from Princeton, and hello to whoever my state senators are. I'm really not sure who they are.
Hey, you're from the Ivy League.
Yes, sir.
You must have heard the morning update today, and you're aware of all the surveys of Ivy League students who don't know who their U.S. senators are.
It's really scary.
Yes, it is.
That's right, U.S. senators. Anyway, you kind of touched on what I wanted to say, which is, I think if you're looking at the fact that it's just that Koresh was a kook, you're missing the real issue, which is how the FBI screwed up, and you've kind of touched on that. But now I'm kind of struck by all these people kind of linking it to the liberals in Washington and everything. I mean, do you really think that Bush would have handled this differently? I missed that link.
I don't really know how Bush would have handled it. Who can tell? I'm trying to recall the last time we had a cult. You have to say it's Jim Jones, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
The People's Temple down there, and of course that was in Guyana. And there were a number of U.S. senators who went down there, California congressmen especially, went down there and tried to negotiate and arrange something, and they were killed. A couple of them were, by the members of the cult, and then a mass suicide with Kool-Aid took place. And there wasn't, as far as I know, as far as my memory tells me, any government intervention per se, as there was in this situation. I do think that the letter writer here who made the observation that those who have a contempt for the use of force, when they authorize it, have no idea what they're doing and what they're talking about. And I think there is a point to be made about that in an overall basis. But this, my question is, why go ahead and cause this thing to end like this anyway, battering the and ramming holes in the side of this compound so as to get tear gas in there, because the crew is tired. I mean, Janet Reno said the agents on site were tired. They're getting worn. There aren't replacement troops per se to send in. We got to bring this thing to a conclusion. And when you look at, as somebody else just pointed out, when you look at at what's happened, now we've got all these people dead. And by the way, there's this notion that, well, we didn't know they were going to commit suicide. You're dealing with nuts.
Absolutely.
I don't think people should be required to be clairvoyant, but there is a track record and there is history. Therefore, there's evidence as to what cults do. And people who blindly follow, and this guy had said, hey, we're all going to die, we're going to perish, you're going to perish, and clearly he was willing to cause great harm to his own people if he thought he was provoked. And to say that, well, we didn't think ramming holes in the side of their house would provoke them, I think they had to know they were trying to provoke them.
Have you heard the new excuse the FBI spokesman is giving for ramming the holes in? Just saw in the news earlier, he said, well, we were ramming holes so that the people in there could get out. And I think that's kind of pretty ridiculous.
No, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. That's
Remember, I don't care about this.
That's true.
And I'm doing this because I think I should today. In all candor, because I think a lot of people need to vent. I think a lot of people want to vent and say some things about it. I frankly couldn't care less, other than, as I say, the sad fate of these children. People make choices, but those kids couldn't. Those kids were lassoed and corralled and held in there against their will, and that's they didn't make choices. They were victims, truly.
Sure.
But I do think, the difference, liberals, conservatives, and all that, I don't know if it's liberal or not, but you got Clinton distancing himself from this, and I don't think that was the politic of him. I know he's got an appearance in about a half hour and then questions after that where he's going to touch on this, and I'll bet you that he does assume responsibility for it. He'll change his take on it. But he tried to shamelessly shove it off on Reno.
Yeah, I never heard him say a word about it. I mean, I'm in classes a lot, but I never heard him say really much anything about it.
Well, all right, look, you've asked me a bunch of questions and I've answered some stuff. What do you really think about this? Who was to blame and what should have happened?
Well, I think from the very beginning, the authorities dropped the ball with the evidence that the cult members knew that something was going to happen, that there was going to be some kind of attack or some kind of intrusion, and then the fact that maybe the authorities knew that the cult members knew. And I think
there were some agents. Now, what did I hear yesterday? Didn't Koresh have somebody that was part of the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms contingent telling him what was going on in there?
I don't know if that's
I think he had an agent.
Yeah, that would make sense, because what I've heard is that Koresh knew that they were coming. And I think from the very beginning there, they just dropped the ball and then were stuck saying, well, man, look what we've done. We've really screwed up. We'll just sit around and see if it ends. And then when it didn't end, they just got desperate. And
I think you have to listen to people. I think when Koresh sits there and tells you that he's trying to translate the 7 seals of Revelation, and then promises that anybody attempting to force their way in will burn in hell or whatever, will go up in flames. You have to at least consider the possibility he might torch the place. If he believes he's God or the Son of God and is trying to translate the 7 seals of Revelation and believes one of them to say that hellfire and damnation will descend upon anybody who tries to stop him, that he's going to create the fire himself. Where else is it going to come from? So apparently they were surprised fire trucks are 20 miles away in Waco, Texas. The preparedness here was granted somewhat lax, at least as it appears now. Glad you called, Jack. Pebble Beach, California. Jim, hello. Welcome to the EIB Network.
Good morning, Rush.
Hi.
I just wanted, you've touched on it through your CompuServe mail a little bit, but I just wanted to ask your opinion.
Go ahead.
If, in fact, you think that the civil rights of the people at the Branch Davidian complex were violated as much or more than Rodney King's.
Well, I think you certainly have to consider that possibility. Anytime the government comes in and rams your house down, gets the biggest tank in the arsenal and decides to put a battering ram on it and then knock down your house, I mean, you have to be a little bit concerned about that.
I think I'd agree.
Now, look, we also got to be honest. Look, the Koresh had tempted everybody a number of times with promises to come out that he had reneged on and all that. I want somebody to tell me, and I say this not in a defiant way, but really, I cannot emphasize enough how little I have been interested in this, and so I've not kept up with it. And so I don't know why everybody was so hell-bent on getting those people out of there anyway. All I've heard is that they had a cache of weapons, it was suspected, that violated the law, and they had to get them out because they were breaking the law there. But what, if not that, what else was it that made ATF and the FBI convinced that they had to go in and get these people out? Because really, they're out in the middle of nowhere. They're threatening to do nothing there. They say they're in there studying the Bible, and I don't want to run the risk here of sounding as though I'm one of them. I need some people to, I care so little I didn't even call anybody this morning. I'm asking you people. But what was the real purpose in getting these people out of there? All I've seen is, aside from this business of the weapons cache, is that Janet Reno said the ATF guys were tired. And they're getting impatient.
I think that's pretty weak, but
yeah. Well, what do you know? I mean, what was so important to get these people out of there?
Well,
other than the kids, were they doing anything to the kids?
There were a few reports on some of the news programs last night that there was previous experience with some child molestation and that type of thing. But those are, that's hearsay at this juncture.
Well, don't forget, this administration has staked a lot of its goodness on its concern for children. The Children's Defense Fund has been elevated here now to almost a cabinet-level position. And many people who have been chairman or women of the Children's Defense Fund are now being talked about as Supreme Court justices. Janet Reno, as one of her primary qualifications to be Attorney General, says, I care about children and so forth, as though nobody else does. As though we finally got an administration now cares about kids. And if that's what motivated this, it's still rather dubious. Again, good intentions perhaps, but look at action as well. Back with more in a moment.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
You know, I can't program my own VCR. No, I'm not stupid. In fact, I'm the president of my own company. But 8 out of 10 of us can't program our own VCRs. I'm Michael Bissonette. I founded Voice Power Technology to solve problems just like this. We've developed a VCR remote control that's controlled by your voice. You just speak right into it and your VCR obeys. For instance, if you wanted to record a movie next Monday, you'd say, record Channel 7, Monday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., and your VCR will automatically record Channel 7 that Monday night from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's honestly just that simple. Our voice remote works with virtually all brands of VCRs and requires no installation of any kind. Now, anyone that can speak can program their VCR. It's just that simple. Call us now for free information on this incredible breakthrough product. Call 1-800-795-9600. 1-800-795-9600.
It's New Orleans on the Noose, the finest dining experience, the River House Restaurant. And the River House Restaurant is now open Wednesday through Saturday for evening dining and buffet, and only $10.99. And there's a Sunday luncheon buffet, only $6.75, and it adds a new dimension to Sunday dining. Now, this is no ordinary buffet. Many entrees, plus a great variety of vegetables, soups, and salads, as well as dessert. The River House Buffet, Wednesday and Thursday, 5 till 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 5 till 11 p.m., Sunday, 11 a.m. to 2:30 in the afternoon. And the evening buffet, only $10.99. The Sunday lunch buffet, $6.75. Youngsters 11 and under, only $3.99. The entire family will enjoy the New Orleans-style restaurant and the new buffet at the River House Restaurant. Also, the finest steamed shrimp and oysters at the Oyster Bar. The River House Restaurant, 413 East New Hope Road in Goldsboro. The Sign Source. John Cox of the Sign Source in Berkeley Junction has all kinds of signs.
Special events.
John Cox can make you a sign just for your own business.
A business sign.
And he also has open house signs, welcome home signs.
For sale.
Yes, and boy or girl signs, and there's a lot more.
The Sign Source.
How about a sign for an anniversary sale? Or special signs, any signs for the inside or out of your business, custom made just for you. Call the Sign Source, 778-1717, or drop by the Sign Source, Berkeley Junction, Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro.
The Sign Source.
Knowles Carpet, your carpet one store in Goldsboro, is giving you lower prices, better service for your home or business. You'll enjoy choosing your carpet from Knowles, and now you can save up to 50% off all Christmas Oriental rugs in stock. Also save on room-size remnants up to 50% off and more. See Knowles Carpets for complete floor products. They're open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5:30, and by appointment. Knowles Carpet, 2311 Wayne Memorial Drive, Goldsboro. Quality flooring, expertly installed.
This is Rush Limbaugh, the talk of the town, 1150 WGBR. 1-800-282-2882. This is the Rush Limbaugh program. When we get this Waco stuff out of the way, there's some amazing things said yesterday by Democrats regarding the stimulus package and this summer. It's amazing stuff. You'll hear about it here. In the meantime, it's back to the phones in Nashville. Keith, hello. Welcome to the program.
Rush.
Yeah.
Dittos.
Thank you.
Let me just start off by saying this is the highlight of my week.
Well.
Talking to you.
Only the week.
Well, good to hear.
Good.
Anyway, thanks for the book. I've read it a couple times, and it's great.
It is. Thank you very much.
And you're the topic of conversation between me and my wife at the end of the day for supper, and I appreciate that also.
Well, great. I'm happy to be part of the family.
I don't want to overtalk the Waco thing either, but one thing that struck me that I said I got to call Rush and see what you think about this also is yesterday when I was watching it on the TV, I was flipping through the different networks, and the only thing that kept running through my mind is, although the FBI seems to have made mistakes, and although the government seems to have made mistakes, it's just one more incident where one person is not held accountable and held responsible for his own actions. And, I just wanted to know...
You're talking about Koresh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, how would you have held him responsible and accountable for his actions?
Well, he has. I mean, it just seemed like he had the power of life or death over himself and over his kids, over all those kids there. And he was the. I mean, it's just.
So you mean okay? I see. So you're saying, what's all this blaming the FBI and the ATF? Blame him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the guy who ordered these people to set fire. Yeah.
Even if somebody storms his house, which may have been wrong, may have been a mistake, may have been right. This seems like nobody forced him to kill himself. Nobody forced him to torch that place. Nobody forced him to do all that. And it's just like, to me, you guys have made a lot of parallels between that and Rodney King, and it just seems like that's Rodney King all over again, that he can do no wrong even though he's broken the law, even though he killed even though Koresh killed 4 ATF agents, he's not held responsible for what he did.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I go back to what I said at the beginning of this hour. We can't criticize these people. They're just as normal as you and I. They just went wrong somewhere, probably during the budget cuts of the Reagan years or some other such folly. No, I'm not exaggerating. Every day in this country, just look at your TV listing. Somebody go get me the TV listing. Go get me USA Today. Go get me the Life section of USA Today, and I'll prove my point. Just look at what is on daytime TV. And has been on daytime TV for years and years and years, and the intent behind all this is to say, hey, these are Americans too. How dare you think they're not? How dare you think they're weird? How dare you think they're whatever? They're just as normal as you and I, and this is your country. You'd better like it. Da-da-da-da-da. We're taking over. And then you got Newsweek magazine now with a cover story on how white guys are the reason everything's wrong, but we're coming after you white guys, and soon we're going to outnumber you. What are you going to do then? I mean, there's some real serious things going on, and I think that they have an effect on people. And it's a great point. He should be held accountable. Thanks for calling, and tell your wife I said hi. Back with more right after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Now, folks, remember, they come at you fast out there. These guys are tricky. They're not talking wage and price controls, handouts to everybody, scapegoating. Their schemes in pursuit of political advantage are never ending, and you won't get any help understanding it all from the dominant media culture. No, you need the Limbaugh Letter. A subscription to my newsletter is like a year's scholarship to the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. Every month, folks, you receive my keenest insights to help you see through this dense liberal fog. Now, coming up in the May issue, I discuss the failings of Clinton's economic plan with economist, author, and columnist Thomas Sowell. This is must reading. I also provide a penetrating commentary on why the left was and will always be wrong. Protect yourself, your friends, and family against the Washington liberal agenda with my newsletter. Call 800-457-4141. Get 12 issues for the low charter rate of $29.95. That's 800-457-4141.
Hello again, the Wachovia guy here with more about Wachovia's 8.9% Prime Plus Visa and MasterCard. Hey, we all use credit cards. Use mine just as much as the next guy. No big deal, right? Until you realize that some cards out there are charging up to 18% interest. It's ridiculous. I mean, why subject yourself to an overpriced credit card when you can get an 8.9% Prime Plus card from Wachovia? They're cheaper, make it easier to get by. And if you apply by June 30th, you'll even get a $50 rebate. Hey, $50. And Prime Plus comes with transfer checks too. Use them to pay off the other credit cards. After that, just trash your old plastic. So let's cut right to the chase here. It's not crazy to use a credit card. On the other hand, paying a ton in interest is just plain nuts. That's it for now. Catch you later.
Annual percentage rate may vary monthly. $39 annual fee. See a Wachovia personal banker for details. Welcome to personal banking. Welcome to Wachovia.
I'm kind of starting to like that guy.
See the real circus. Clyde Vinny Cole Brothers Circus. 3-ring family entertainment under the big top. Tigers, horses, bears, trapeze stars. 3 rings of elephants. See the human cannibal at Clyde Vinny Cole Brothers Circus. An evening your child will never forget.
Opens tomorrow through Thursday at the Wayne County Fairgrounds with free kids tickets and Berkeley Mall merchants.
Tickets on sale through tonight at JCPenney and tomorrow at the Circus only. See your paper for showtimes and other details. And don't miss the Clyde Beatty Cole Brothers Circus.
Where can you get all the pizza, pasta, salad, and dessert that you care to eat for one low price? The Village Inn Pizza Parlor on Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro. The Village Inn announces its Monday and Tuesday night manager special. Monday and Tuesday nights only. The all-you-can-eat buffet. It's only $3.39. Every Monday and Tuesday night from 4:30 to 8 o'clock, the buffet is bargain priced at only $3.39. And it's only at one place. The Village Inn Pizza Parlor, 503 North Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro, where pizza is always in good taste.
You're listening to The Rush Limbaugh Show on 1150 WGBR.
Another letter from my CompuServe stash today, from the CompuServe download. And by the way, let me say two things. I forgot to mention during my newsletter commercial, we have prepared the reference guide, every radio and TV station carrying the Rush Limbaugh Show, frequencies, channel numbers, and times, and we're offering that as a freebie with every new subscription to the Limbaugh letter. The reference. You people have demanded it, you've wanted it, here it is. For those of you who travel all over the fruited plain, so all you got to do is order the newsletter for that. Those of you also on CompuServe, I'll tell you, the amount of mail that I'm getting now is making it difficult even to read it all. I used to be able to read it all, never have been able to answer it all. Now it's getting difficult to read it. I mean, it's to the point now, in some cases, it's 400 to 500 pieces a day, if not more. So let me take this opportunity to thank all of you for your little notes. They're amazingly insightful and helpful. And keep it up. Here's one from, I don't know where. Doesn't have the city. Rush, let's see if the critics of George Bush, like Jesse Jackson and Ramsey Clark, who assaulted the president for his decision to go ahead and retake Kuwait, will now come out and attack President Clinton for giving the go-ahead in Waco. Will they say he should have given the blockade more time to work and he just wanted to see those children die? I think not. That's what they said about Bush. He just wants to see those children die. San Antonio. Hello, Lynn. Welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
Yeah, Rush.
Yeah.
You were yesterday defending the judicial system for the way it acted in the Rodney King trial. Today you're saying you don't really understand why they needed to get those people out of the complex. One, the ATF agents had to present enough evidence to get a warrant to go in there in the first place. Then whenever they showed up, the reason they try and rush those places is to prevent exactly what happened, the hostage situation, some nut, killing everyone inside with himself. They had to try and get those people out of there. That's why they were poking holes in the thing and putting tear gas in there, make the environment uncomfortable, make them want to get out of it.
So the people inside were being held hostage? They were in there against their will? Koresh had them in there against their will?
Well, I can't believe the children were in there because they wanted to be. I'm not sure they were even capable of making the decision.
No,
whether
children,
they wanted to
I
stay
agree
or
with
go.
you. No, I agree with you about children. But what about the adults? Because the adults, I mean,
the adults paddle their own canoe.
Well, but
the
adults are the parents. I mean, can you just go in and have the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms go in and take kids away from parents?
You have to, if the parents are willfully putting their kids in a dangerous situation, which obviously getting into an armed confrontation with federal agents is a dangerous situation.
Okay, so you are of the impression then that because the children is why all this was said. I'm not challenging, I'm just getting information from you.
I'm just saying whenever they went to present the warrant, they were fired upon.
Right.
They killed 4 ATF agents. The ATF agents were basically there trying to...
Thank you. Time's up.
Scott Motor Company has been selling and servicing fine motor cars since 1922. And right now they have the best selection of fine Cadillacs and Pontiacs that they've offered in many years. You can have the elegance of a 93 Cadillac or the excitement of a new Pontiac at a special deal. Scott offers rebates up to $2,000 or 4.9% APR financing. Get all the details at Scott Motor Company on the Highway 70 bypass across from the Holiday Inn. And when you're there, see the 1993 all-new Fleetwood Cadillac rear-wheel drive. Learn about the safety of a Cadillac, the performance of a Cadillac, especially the North Star system. A motor so dependable, the first tune-up is recommended at 100,000 miles. In that large selection of motor vehicles, you'll also see a large selection of minivans. You know, Scott Motor Company has the car or minivan that you're thinking about. So visit Scott Motor Company, Highway 70 bypass across from the Holiday Inn, Goldsboro.
News on the hour, every hour, on your first information source. WGBR, Goldsboro's very own.
From ABC News, I'm Gary Nahn. Finger-pointing, explanations, and speculation a day after the fiery finish to the ordeal at the Branch Davidian cult compound in Texas. ABC's Chuck Sievertson reports what the FBI is saying about it.
The FBI was asked again to justify its tactics and offer evidence that the cult started the fire. 3 agents allegedly saw a person inside light it. The FBI says several fires were seen from the air and that a tank didn't knock over anything flammable. So far, no photos are released. The agent in charge, Jeff Jamar, says no evidence will be coming out because it could affect a court case. As far as the report of FBI listening devices inside the compound, Jamar didn't admit or deny. He did say that some intelligence was inconsistent and inconclusive. Jamar said start to finish, David Koresh controlled his people and events. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News, Waco, Texas.
A federal official in Washington does confirm electronic listening equipment planted inside the compound in fact did provide agents with information that David Koresh was becoming increasingly violent. Treasury Secretary Lloyd Bentsen says that the president will be calling for a full investigation of what happened in Texas. The announcement was made during a Senate Finance Committee hearing today considering the administration's energy tax proposal. Panel member, Oregon Republican Bob Packwood, agrees with the way Attorney General Janet Reno handled the situation.
I'm inclined to very much to support the Attorney General. I hope this doesn't turn into a who is responsible for the surprise at Pearl Harbor kind of investigation. Based upon the facts that I think she had, I think she acted correctly. She's taken responsibility, and I certainly hope it doesn't turn into a witch hunt and we look for somebody to, some goat to hang for something that I think was properly handled.
Senator Packwood on Capitol Hill. First congressional hearing into the Branch Davidian ordeal has been scheduled to open Friday. The House Judiciary Committee with oversight jurisdiction over the FBI will start its investigation on what happened. The U.S. FDA announces the recall of nearly a dozen brands of toy tea sets and dinner dishes because the china contains possibly harmful levels of lead that could poison children who play with the dishes. You're listening to ABC News.
Another termite situation, Lieutenant?
Yes, sir. And it looks like they've taken hostages.
No, you don't mean...
Afraid so, sir. They sent this crude note.
Let me see. If you call Terminex, we eat the oak dinette set.
They're desperate, sir.
When you're the leader in termite and pest control, bugs will try anything to stop you. That's why Terminex has trained technicians who know just where to find hidden pests and the latest, most effective methods of treatment.
Okay, termites, come on with your hands up. All 6 of them.
Call us. Nobody bugs like Terminex.
Mud and grime on my favorite shirt. It's my brother's fault. It collects so much dirt.
Oily, icky stains. Well. Mama lets them out with Ultra A-L-L. Ultra All. Cleaning so powerful, one scoop and you'll see. Clothes are whiter, brighter, stains are history.
Every time my brother makes a mess out of me, Mama lifts him out
with Ultra A-L-L. That's all. The stain lifter.
That's all.
The World Health Organization says that mistakes made in laboratories are killing or making thousands of people sick around the world every year. The organization calls for tighter controls, recommending new rules affecting the way clinical lab workers do their jobs. Election day in Los Angeles, voters are deciding who they want to succeed Tom Bradley as mayor. ABC's June Platt reports.
Mayor Tom Bradley's planned retirement sparked a political frenzy as more than 50 people threw their hats into the ring. The list was whittled down to 24. Among the front-runners, a wealthy white businessman, Richard Reardon, and a Chinese-American city councilman, Michael Wu. Also in the running, a black councilman, Nate Holden, and a female Latino deputy mayor, Linda Griego. LA voters will also decide whether to raise property taxes to hire an additional 1,000 police officers. Supporters hope the timing